Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 011111911.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Hello there. Hello. Welcome. Welcome back.
Hi, are you my waiter?
Are you my waiter? Where are my waitresses?
Waitress.
Waitress?
You are a waitress.
Waiter? Oh, waiter!
Today is National Waiter and Waitress Day.
I prefer the term. We prefer the term service.
What about tips? I make my living on tips.
Tips not included.
Tip is not included.
Showtime!
So funny because when I heard this yesterday, it was on Facebook, and you never know what you can believe. It was some random site. It wasn't like a news site. So I had to come and check it, and then it actually went through, and everybody agreed that people that get tips shouldn't be taxed on their tips. A bill introduced by Ted Cruz, backed by a group of senators on both sides, say workers can deduct up to $25,000 in cash from their tips from their taxable income. This is for workers who earn $160,000 or less. This is part of Trump's big, beautiful plan. Bill, plan, whatever it's called. The funny thing is, servers nowadays at certain restaurants, I bet you they make over $160,000 because it's like, oh my God, some of the tips they're getting. It's crazy.
Depending on what state you work in. If you work in South Carolina, I think the minimum wage is like $5. If you work in California, the minimum wage is like $16 or $18 or whatever it is. I wonder if people, are you going to change your tip strategy based on this?
No. Probably not. I don't think so. I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah, because now you're like, well, they earn a lot more because they're not going to get taxed on this, so I'm going to tip a little bit less. Yeah.
Then you look like a cheap SOB, and I don't,
So if you're paying, I don't know. I don't have a job that I work on tips, but if you're paying taxes on tips, what is that? What was that percentage of taxes that you paid? 22%, 25%?
I don't know.
18%
tip is. I'm not. I wish
if you're a server,
somebody could write in.
Yeah, if you're a server, 805-543-3693.
I just remember back in the day, if you had credit card tips, you had to claim those tips because they were on paper.
And that's why
cash
people think they're doing like a big favor by tipping in cash. They're like, hey, I'm going to tip you in cash because I know you.
They were doing a big favor because you didn't have to claim that. There was no proof of it.
Right. So the cash tip was always the better tip, but now that all is even, the playing field is even. Now, this is a federal tax on tips. Keep in mind, like California probably still going to get theirs. Like they'll still probably tax your tips because this is what California does. But let's say you just take California out of the equation. How much? Like if I tip you $1, how much of that dollar do you see? And now that I'm tipping you $1, if you take California out of the equation and you just have the federal level of taxes on the tips, it's even now. So, maybe a $2 tip turns into a $1 tip. I'm just saying for ease of purpose, not that I'm a cheapskate or something like that. Like
I don't know what you're saying.
Ease of the math.
They're saying they're not going to tax tips, so that means if you get $2, you get $2.
Right, but now I'm going to do the math on that as the consumer. I'm like, oh, you don't get taxed on tips anymore. I'm not going to tip you as much as you used to get.
I don't think people are going to do that.
There will be people.
I don't even think you are going to do that.
There are people that are math people. There are people that are math people that'd be like, I don't have to tip as much as I used to because these people don't have to pay taxes on their tips anymore.
So what are you saying? I would say the minimum now people are tipping is 20%. And 20 to 30% is the range that people are now tipping. At least the people I hang out with. It's ridiculous.
You're a big tipper. 20% minimum. I say 20% for really good service.
I'm 25.
No, actually, you know what? I do 20% because it's the math.
It all depends.
The math is easier.
It's like dart night when I'm back there for 3 hours and they're bringing me beers for 3 hours. I just usually tip $10, and it ends up being between 25 and 30% of my tab. So it's it's like I don't mind paying somebody $10 for bringing me beers for 3 hours.
I have to work really hard to figure out the 15% equation, so I do 20
It's easy. Same the number level.
Okay, so 10% of this is $4, and then just double that, $8. There you go.
So I'm sure today's a big day to celebrate. I mean, it got passed. It's going through all the way. 805-543-3693. Despicable Mike in Santa Maria, who cuts grass, does not claim his tips. I don't think they're looking for you, Mike. I don't think they're expecting you to have tips. Thanks for hanging on. You're on with Jeff and Jeremy. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just want to give a little bit of insight on this.
Okay.
As a server bartender in a restaurant currently, it helps us out immensely. So, I mean, instead of claiming all my tips, all my credit card tips, like you said earlier, now that I'm going to get my hourly wage on my paycheck as opposed to paying all my taxes, I'm going to get a $600 paycheck as opposed to a $110 paycheck because they tax all my tips. So it helps me out. It helps our support staff that we all tip out. So if I get tipped $20, I'm tipping out my kitchen, my hostess, my busser, my bar back, all of these other factors in it. So
what about the state of California, though?
That's where I'm at. I'm in California.
No, I understand that. So are we. But no, like the question I have for you is this is a federal thing. Is the state of California still going to tax your tips?
Dude, everyone was going crazy at work yesterday, last night when they saw this. And I was like, are you sure this is even going to be implemented right away for us? And I don't know. I haven't dove into the bill.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
My first question is: does California? Do you have a tip income tax? Like we pay income tax in California. Do they also tax your tips in California, separate from the federal tax?
So it goes into our federal tax. So all of our tips are claimed, like you said, with our credit card tips. Cash is a different story. They can't really track that.
Right.
So you don't have to be 100% honest on that if you don't want to.
Do you know what the percentage is too that they take, or that they were taking?
I don't know the exact
it's okay.
percentage.
If you don't,
if I'm making like $1,500 a week in tips or in a 2 week period, and then my hourly wage for $16.50 for 40 hours for 2 weeks, I'm only getting a $200 paycheck if I'm lucky. Like it's only $120, but they're assessing all of the tips that I took home for that 2 week period.
Oh, so that goes away, and now you're going to get paid the full. That is a big difference.
It would be a huge difference, absolutely. So we'd still get our allocated tips, and then we would get our hourly wage from the restaurant industry as well.
So it would count. It would count against your hourly wage before.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you calling in.
Oh, that is a huge deal then.
Yeah. So what he's saying again is, his paycheck comes and all the hours he worked gets knocked down because of all the percentage of taxes he had to pay off the tips he made. So when I was a server, you live on your tip money. Like you're making way more in tips. Of course, this was
minimum
30
wage
years
was
$4
$4
what was that?
an hour. Yeah.
It was the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're almost 30 years. So I was and I was back then. I mean, people weren't tipping anything 30 years ago, but I would still walk away from each shift with about $200, maybe $150, depending on the day of the week. And
the reason why
I would get my paycheck and it would be like $60, $68 for 2 weeks.
The reason why I ask is because we get paid on our hourly wage, but then there's also certain bonuses that we can attain. And I was looking at my bonus and I saw that my bonus was way taxed way higher than my wage. And I contacted HR. I'm like, hey, what's this all about? They're like, oh yeah, just Google it. State of California, they take an extra. It's a minimum of.
Yeah, just Google it. How about you send a letter up? But by the way,
well, no,
because most of the
it's been like this for a while.
Talent that work at this company work in California, and we are on a bonus structure that our company set up for us. How about you send us? By the way, don't be surprised when you see an extra. I don't know what.
Well, it's not like it's something
30%?
new. It's been this way. It's just the way they decided to break down the payment structure that you finally notice it.
Well, they could have said something.
And it's like an extra 10% taken out and it's fully the state of California from what I was able to research on this. And it's like 10.32 or something like that on the bonuses. So then they're taking a little bit of extra money out on the bonuses. So that's why I wonder about the tax on the tips for the state of California, because California in the end gets theirs. Okay. Like just because the feds say, okay, we're not going to tax tips anymore. I wouldn't be totally sure that, the state of California is, if they have this bonus structure in place, well, they'll just view tips as bonuses, and then they'll step in and they'll be like, well, tips now fall under the bonus structure, and then they'll tax it. I believe mine's like at 14% or something like that.
Makes your skin boil.
An additional 14%.
If they did that would be horrible. That would be horrible.
Well, this is why people leave California. I mean, it's just.
But if you missed it, the big news is that yes, the tip thing did go through. It is happening. They're not cutting any corners. As far as I know, nobody's going to take this to the Supreme Court. Not like the student loan thing.
No, because it was unanimous. The Democrats and Republicans love this.
No tax on tips.
It gets them reelected. It's an easy talking point to get them reelected.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.